So today I will be trying to highlight regarding the digestibility under the exposure of fish as a model, and I am considering mainly liver and stomach under my study area. It's an unique work that I have mainly our teammates in our laboratory in the Department of Environmental Science, the ecotoxicology laboratory. We have did it since last 5 years. So most of the peoples are dwelling in such a position that we are taking foods, but it is not being digested. Though we are fond of different foods, but we are engulfing, but we are without digesting, we are releasing from mouth also and some partial digestibility. So in a stomach disorder, we know one disease is there, one type of disorder that is called gastroparesis. It's nothing but a delayed gastric emptying. That is a disorder that slows or stops the movement of the food from the stomach to the small intestine. It's a normal phenomena, but though it is a normal phenomena, if the digested material, the foods we are taking, it is not being digested properly, it creates an immense problem to our body. So even though there is no blockage in the stomach or intestine, it may happen in our stomach. So it is called gastroparesis. Simultaneously, in our liver, as we can see from the picture, that is a healthy liver is nothing but liver showing a normal reddish brown in color. And under cross section in histopathological study, we can see that's a normal liver cells. There is no deposition of fat. But in case of fatty liver, it is now nothing but showing some discoloration, mainly yellowish in color. And during the histopathological study, we can see after the cross section, it accumulates different fats in different sizes, and it creates an immense problem in our digestive system. So, considering this, there are some liver diseases that do happen in our digestibility system. That is in a healthy liver, it is quite reddish in nature. Fatty liver, it is quite yellowish in nature, and then it turns to fibrosis, and it leads to the finally cirrhosis. From the healthy liver to cirrhosis, that it can be noticed. It takes around 2 to 2.5 years, and you can take it as 3 years by for leading from the healthier liver to cirrhosis if the liver is not maintained properly. So, as we all know, that the liver get deteriorated by two main processes. That is after taking the alcohol by consumption of huge alcohol. So this may lead to the cirrhosis of liver. That is called alcoholic fatty liver. And another thing is that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease that is not related to the alcohol. The persons who are not getting intoxicated with the alcohol, but he or she may be getting infected with a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So how non-alcoholic fatty liver disease occur, that I will tell you through my presentations. In non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, this is nothing but the more progressive state of the NAFLD indicated by prominent features such as hepatic inflammations and hepatocellular damage. So what is the solution? Will you take the different type of medicines? As we all know, the different type of medicines are being taken day by day. It is being registered in our body, mainly the antibiotics. These are not working properly in our body. As we all know, that the antibiotic last it has been discovered in 90th decade. Since then, there is no discovery of the antibiotic, and it is alarming situations in which we are dwelling. Most of the antibiotic is being registered in our body. So it is better to take different type of feed supplement without taking any or less taking of any antibiotics or different medicines. So revive or maintain your stomach and liver with a lipotrophic factor. So lipotrophic factor is nothing but a factor, or it's a media, or a compound that degrades the fat from the liver or the stomach. So it's a nothing but a natural health supplement. So we can use choline over here. So choline is nothing but it protects the liver. It reduces the blood pressure, homocysteine reduction, stops drug causes deficiencies. It's generally reduces the ages, and we are getting so much smart if we take the cholines. Age is being gracefully cannot be revived, and it's a good component as a preservative of memories. It helps in focuses in different points, and getting the attention being so much being gathered. It's an another point is that it's a huge supplement for the pregnant woman, and it's a prenatal cognitive strength is being registered by taking the choline. And there are so many others activities of the choline is there. From there, we can see the different activities of the choline of here. So in our study, it is nothing but a choline is nothing but a quaternary ammonium compound. It contributes to the health of the cell membrane in the brain, protecting neural membranes and encouraging the excellent signaling capacity. It's a key precursor in production of the acetylcholine. As we know, the acetylcholine is mainly responsible for the stimulating in brain, and it acts as a neurotransmitter, has a dominant role in maintenance in the structural integrity of the cell membrane. It produces the cholinergic transmissions, transmembrane signaling, so lipid and cholesterol transport and metabolisms. So by taking a small compound, it creates an immense benefit to our human body. So why we do not consider choline as a health supplement in our body nowadays? So it recalls the informations and ability to focus in verbal and listening. And the term choline, it simply indicates its choline is, if it is choline is attached with chloride, it is directly soluble into the water. So we have considered choline chloride as a supplement for this particular study, as it is readily soluble into the water. So if you see the choline pathway in the womb, you can have in the womb also, and in the liver also. This is the different pathway: choline, then been betaine, then been methionine, then is SAM, and then CDP choline, PMATPC choline, and directly it reduces the VLDL and it is directly connected in the womb also. So in the liver as well as the womb, they are proportionally related with each other. So if we consider the abundance in our daily food, you will be highly obliged and you will be highly astonished by seeing that dairy products, mainly eggs, contain 7.9 gram per 100 gram of food. 7.9 gram per 100 gram of food. Like this way, mainly the fishes contains very much of choline. That is fish cod, Atlantic cooked and dry heat. It contains 18 gram of 100 gram of food. 170 in fish, smelt, dried Alaska native fish. Mainly the marine fish contains heavier choline content. However, if we consider the baby foods, as it is known as Nutrica, Nutrica Dexolac, Nutrica Dexolac Premium, Nutrica Dexolac Complan, Junior Horlicks, Lactogen 1, Lactogen 2, 3, then Nestrum, then Nan2, Pediasure, Nutrigo, Horlicks, Proteinex. So these contains the heavier quantity of the choline, as we see in their nutritional informations in their contents. So what is the aim and objective of this study? So direct administration into the pond water and to check or to the condition, to assess the effect on the stomach and the liver tissue, to predict the digestibility and liver functions through the fish model. So through this, for conducting this study, we have considered 3 ponds. One is control pond. Another 2 is that is a choline treated pond in different pond area. I have shown it. With geographically, it has been placed. So what we have done, we have stocked 1800 numbers of fishes at the ratio of 5:2:1:1. That is rohu, katla, magur, and koi. And we have fed nothing but normal feeds, that is that contains feed meal, groundnut oil cake, soya meal, silky bran, yellow corn, that is maize, dew, and with content of salt, vitamin, and minerals also, and having the protein content of 30%. And we have fed, run our research work 3 months, that is 90 days, in the dry season as well as in the breeding seasons. Dry season means in the winter season and in the breeding seasons. So we have segregated the fishes into control dye, control breeding, treatment dye, and treatment breeding. Treatment means choline treated fishes. So after the histological study, through this slide, you can see that in the control condition under the dry season, both in dry and breeding seasons, there is a damage of hepatocytes, degeneration of sinusoids, vacuolations in the cell cytoplasm, degeneration of the cell, mainly central vein, vacuolations in cytoplasmic mass, deterioration of the acinar cells in the hepatocytes. Whereas in case of the treatment condition under choline exposure, you can see the predominant nucleus in the hepatocytes, well articulated central vein with the blood capillaries. Under the exposure of choline in another fish, that is in case of Anabas testudinus and other fishes, you can also have a look. There is a damage of hepatocytes, degeneration of hepatocytes, damage in the acinar cells and the sinusoids, degeneration in the central veins. Whereas under the control conditions, you can see the well-structured sinusoids and acinar cells and the centrally placed predominant nucleus in the hepatocytes. Same thing in case of air-breathing fishes, where we have considered the magur and koi. There we can see that is the compact arrangement of the central vein with the blood capillaries and hepatocytes under the choline exposures, and the blood vessels were carrying a huge number of bloods in the central vein under the choline exposures. Finally, in the choline conditions under the koi fishes, what we have noted, that is the white sinusoids and the disruptions in the blood vessels under the control conditions, and in treatment conditions, and there is a accumulation of the glycogen accumulations under the choline exposure into the dry seasons. If we consider the another type of stain is there, that is that we all know, that is the pass-heavy stain, through which we can predict the accumulation of the liver, accumulation of fat within the liver. If we consider the photo 6.4 or 6.1 to 6.4, there we can see under the control condition, there is a dark basophilic pass positive cytoplasm of acinar cells, large eosinophilic zymogen granules, pass positive colloidal mass in the hepatocytes. Whereas under the choline exposures, there will be a deposition of the monopolysaccharides having the neutral mucins in the hepatocytes, predominance of the magenta color in the hepatocytes containing neutral polysaccharides. So through this, we can predict there is a huge mass of lipopolysaccharides accumulations under the control conditions, that is devoid of the choline. Whereas under the choline exposures, we can see the liver as well as the stomach cells, where we can see the degeneration of the connective tissues of the lamina propria, distorted mucosal folds, degeneration of the central veins, and vacuolations in the lamina propria, and distortion of the mucosal fold, light vacuolations in the submucosa. Whereas under the choline exposures, there is a compact arrangement of the lamina propria, and there is a proliferated gastric glands showing predominant gastric pits. That gastric juice that is being extracted from the gastric pits, it helps in the digestions. Through this, we can notice this is the area. Through this, we can notice there is a chance of a easier digestions under the choline exposure. In the past positive exposure under the pass-heavy stain in histochemical study, there is a findings of in the control conditions, there is a flaccidity in the granular cells with a less compactness and a mild affinity towards pass positive in CECs, gastric glands, and the mucosal layer under the control conditions. Whereas under the choline conditions, you can notice there is an abundance of huge secretion of mucus. So as we all know, the mucus helps in the digestions, and the mucus is being secreted under the exposure of the choline. So this is the mainly it is mainly possible due to the exposure of the choline also. So liver tissue under the histological study, you can see that the fish species under non-choline exposures, there is the accumulation of the high level of carbohydrate in the liver that might lead to the fat depositions in the liver, lipidogenesis, where the energy requirements of the fish become saturated level, resulting into the formation of the fat liver and occurrence of the there is a higher percentage of the accumulation of the fat. Moreover, the non-alcoholic supplemented fishes depicted irregular hepatocytes, vacuolations in the cell cytoplasms, and nuclear polymerizations, resulting liver cirrhosis that leads to cirrhosis of the liver. So under the choline exposure, you can see the well-articulated hepatic cords with hexagonal and polygonal hepatocytes possessing deeply strained centrally placed nuclear and granular cytoplasms, well-articulated central veins, and hepatopancreas with regular, well-organized acinar cells contain zymogen granules, sufficient colloidal mass. Though this presence of these type of cells within the liver tissue helps in digestions, as well as it mainly plays a role in it protects the liver for deposition of fats. So under the histochemical study, we can see the less pass-positive mucopolysaccharide deposits in the vacuolated cytoplasms of the hepatocytes and the dark basophilic pass-positive cytoplasms having many layers of eosinophilic zymogen granules in the acinar cells. Under the choline supplemented conditions, there is a strong pass-positive hepatocytes were noticed surrounded by the predominant central veins, reduced sinusoids space, but increased compactness. This mainly happens under the exposure of the choline. Choline supplemented liver, it indicates deposition of the glycogen and not the mucopolysaccharides in the hepatocytes. As we know, in the stomach, under histological observations, under hematoxylin eosin observations, we can see fish under choline exposure, compact lamina propria, well-articulated epithelial cell layers, well-furnished predominant mucosal folds, and the well-posited gastric glands. These gastric glands mainly helps in eruption of the gastric juice that helps in digestions, thick mucocularis layers, and secretion of the blood capillaries. So under the histochemical observations, we can see there is a rise and up in quantity of the neutral menses, and it helps in the maximum absorption of the digestive molecules. Whereas mainly short chain fatty acids and the presence of the sufficient neutral mucins on epitel surface of the gastric crypts includes columnar epithelial cells and gastric glands under the dry season resulted smooth lubrications as well as conduction of the matriculations food particles for better absorption rate. So under choline exposures, the liver and the stomach tissue of the experimental fish species showed a significant augmentation of the different cell organelles. Under the liver, hepatopancreas with deposition of the glycogen and of the mucopolysaccharide droplets, that is the stored energy to be utilized in different conditions under stress or in maybe due to the mating purpose, but without fatty as well as non-alcoholic steatohepatitis liver. It indicates a gross modulation of the liver functions, whereas under the stomach, it increases the digestibility. Due presence of such lipotrophic agent activates the nervous systems, mainly the vagus nerves, due to such neurotransmitter presence, and it minimizes or eliminates the gastroparesis. These gastroparesis that I have shown earlier, that may be reduced by the exposure of the choline in this way. Therefore, it can be inferred that fish may be taken as a role model for the liver function test as well as under the consideration of the digestibility. So it's my earnest request to all of you. So please avoid taking medicines as far as possible. Different type of medicines is being used for the digestion purpose. Insulin sensitizing agents, optoids, necrosis, different type of medicine is there. So engulf choline directly as a supplement meant for the human consumptions, and it is readily available. So under these conditions, choline is now renamed as vitamin B4 from 2019, and choline summit is there. So you can take the B4 500 grams to 1000 mg. Sorry, 500 to 1000 mg. And this is the arena where you can get it from Amazon. We are Indians are getting from the Amazon. You can have the choline and inositol from the internet or the different sites also, and in a tabular form that I have shown you. Institute of Medicine 2000, they have predicted with the age and the minimum intake, minimum need of choline per day, 0 to 1 year, that is 125 to 150 mg per day, whereas 14 to 19 plus, then adult male require 550 milligram per day, female require 400 to 425 milligram per day, pregnant women require 450 milligram per day, and lactating women require 550 milligram per day. So it's a mandatory item. If you don't take it through foods, if you don't take it, there is a lacuna. It may create liver steatosis and mainly non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And you can have take this one to avoid fatty liver also. So these are my some publications in ACS and different journals, and LCPR has acknowledged me by publishing these two articles related to choline. So with a few moments, thanks to all and thank you.